Today we're talking about one of the darkest aspects of Demon Slayer, the Demon Slayer Mark curse that offers insane power but at a way too severe cost, as we'll see. Specifically, we'll be explaining Tanjiro's tragic and dark fate at the end of the Demon Slayer series, so make sure to stay tuned for that. Check out the Demon Slayer within and smash that like button if you enjoy seeing Demon Slayer videos like this one and want to keep them coming. Make this the video you join the Demon Slayer core by subscribing and hitting that notification bell so you don't miss future Demon Slayer videos and updates. And now, without further ado, let's jump into it, spoilers and all. So during the beginning of this Hashira training arc season of the anime, the story brings up the Demon Slayer Mark. We're told the swordsman who'd driven Muzan to the brink of defeat during the Sengoku period, including the swordsman of first breathing, came to bear a mark similar to demonic patterns. We're further told that much of the lore surrounding this mark remains vague, and we're going to be clearing up all the mysteries here. But what is known is that when one person bearing the mark appears, those around him also manifest marks as if resonating with him. The first of this generation to awaken it is our protagonist Tanjiro himself, followed by the Mist Hashira Tokito and Love Hashira Mitsuri, as we saw in the last anime season. Amane Ubuyashiki, the wife of leader Ubuyashiki, also hints at something else important but leaves it as a cliffhanger during episode 1 of this season. She says those whose marks have already appeared have no choice in the matter, but all who have a mark will, without exception, ... It just cuts off the volume. We don't hear what she says after this, but we do see some Hashira reactions. For instance, Mitsuri's jaw drops, and Sanemi and Iguro look pretty affected by the news too. I'll explain why this is soon. Albeit, most characters maintain a stoic expression when they hear this, like Gyu and Gyome. So what did she actually say here? What is being foreshadowed? Well, if you've seen many shonen, you know that sometimes insane power-ups shorten your lifespan. Insane momentary power comes with a cost. You can see it in Hunter x Hunter and One Piece and so on. And in this case, she was gonna say that all who have awakened a mark will, without exception, die before reaching the age of 25. And now, if you watch my All Secret Romances in Demon Slayer Explained video, you know why Iguro reacted like that and why Mitsuri did. Obviously, Mitsuri's surprised that she's gonna die before 25, and Iguro, who loves her, obviously would be affected by this news. And if you didn't know, Sanemi and Iguro are tight. They're like really good friends, so maybe he's affected indirectly by the Mitsuri news, or maybe he just is touched and affected that Mitsuri and Tokito, such a young demon slayer, are going to die. Obviously, though, a lot of the Hashira are used to this kind of negative news, and we already lost Rengoku, so a lot of them, it makes sense, like Gyu would react with a stoic expression no matter what they're feeling inside. We have to wait until chapter 170 in the manga to find out the news about the dying before reaching the age 25 thing. Upper Moon 1 Kokushibo is the one to say it. He says to a now awakened Gyome, and I quote, "I see, you are a marked one, too bad. From what I've seen, I'd say your age is about 27. I regret the loss. Without exception, the marked ones die before they reach the age of 25. Even if they manifest the mark and are able to improve their power, it merely reduces their lifespan. You showed the mark and are past 25, so you will probably die tonight." End quote. And spoiler alert, he does die that night, although you can argue it's because of the wounds he suffers from Muzan. So if you put 2 and 2 together, you will come to the conclusion that our protagonist Tanjiro, who awakened the Demon Slayer Mark first in this generation, is destined to die before he reaches 25, which would be a tragically short life for a shonen protagonist. Now let's fast forward to the end of the series. I already mentioned Gyome, but many die in the final demon battles. However, some do make it, including Tanjiro and most of the younger generation like Zenitsu and Nezuko, but out of the Hashira, only Water Hashira Gyu and Wind Hashira Sanemi make it. Both awakened their Demon Slayer marks during the final battle against the demons. So although most of the younger generation like Zenitsu, Inosuke, Nezuko, and Kanao didn't awaken their Demon Slayer marks and should be safe, Tanjiro, Gyu, and Sanemi, according to the rules established in this Demon Slayer world about Demon Slayer marks, only have until 25 max to live. This is arguably even worse for Sanemi and Gyu since they are 21 and so only have like 4 more years to live. Tanjiro is 16 after the battle, so at least he still has 9 years to live. Now we know that Tanjiro married Kanao and had kids. During chapter 205, we even meet his far descendants named Kanata Kamado and Sumihiko Kamado, who are living in the present day. So it's tempting to think that they lived happily ever after into old age. But the truth is, he could have still had kids before reaching 25 and dying of the curse. Just look at the Ubuyashiki family. They definitely had a lot of kids even though they died young. We don't ever see a 25-year-old Tanjiro or an older one for that matter. Now that is pretty dark for a shonen manga if you ask me, but perhaps the word tragic isn't entirely fair. Tanjiro saved the world from demons, lived way longer than most of his own siblings and many others, and got to enjoy an extra 9 years in a peaceful world with his family and friends. I doubt Tanjiro would have found it a tragic end if you asked him, and besides, if surviving was the only goal, Tanjiro could have become a demon and stayed a demon like Kokushibo. The truth is, there are more important things to the Demon Slayers than longevity, and in fact, they would prefer a short honorable life to an eternal demonic one. We've seen that many times. But you gotta admit that for us, the readers, it's still pretty tragic and dark when you think about it. The mangaka even went out of her way to make sure that Zenitsu Inosuke and Kanao didn't awaken Demon Slayer marks, so we wouldn't have to worry about them. In theory, there is no reason for them not to awaken Demon Slayer marks. Zenitsu especially is so strong by the end of the series, arguably the strongest thunder breather ever, that he could have totally gotten a Demon Slayer mark if the mangaka wanted to give him one. But she probably didn't because she wanted at least most of this younger generation to live a long, happy life well into old age. It would probably be too tragic if everyone was dead by 25, and then also who would raise everyone's kids? It's nice to think that Kanao, Zenitsu, Inosuke, Nezuko are all there to raise the next generation, even after Tanjiro passes away before 25. So the mangaka wisely chose for these characters to remain unmarked so that the sacrifice of the others would have more meaning. These characters could enjoy the demon-free world that the others left with their sacrifice. And you know it would mean a lot to Kanae and Shinobu, who died fighting demons, that Kanao could at least live a long, peaceful life. So back to the fact that we never saw a 25-year-old Tanjiro. But what's also true is that we never saw him die from the curse, that must be mentioned. All of this stuff would have happened off screen. The truth is, the story ended way before that would happen, and then we jumped all the way to their far descendants in the last chapter. So for a second, let me explore a perhaps too hopeful alternative to Tanjiro's destiny. Perhaps despite the mark remaining on his face after the battle, he doesn't die early at all. An argument can be made for this. First of all, we know that the statement that without exception the marked ones die before they reach the age of 25 is not actually correct. There was one exception, one marked one who died of old age, and of course I'm referring to Yoriichi, the strongest demon slayer in history and the user of the first and strongest breathing style, sun breathing. Yes, Yoriichi has been an exception in almost every way, unlike anyone else. He's the most special of the special, but Tanjiro is also a sun breathing style user like him, and like Yoriichi, Tanjiro was the first of his generation to awaken the Demon Slayer mark. So perhaps because of these similarities, an argument can be made that, like Yoriichi, Tanjiro could be an exception to the rule. Then there's also the possibility that since Muzan has been defeated, and with him all the demons, the Demon Slayer mark curse has been lifted. Now one would think that the Demon Slayer mark on Tanjiro's forehead would disappear if that was the case, but let's just go with it for a second. There is a precedent for this. The Ubuyashiki family was originally cursed because their bloodline produced the first demon, meaning Muzan. As a result, every male Ubuyashiki child would be born with a disease and would die young. But when Muzan is defeated, this curse is lifted, and in the modern day we see that a Ubuyashiki now holds the Japanese record for the oldest living person. So arguably, the Demon Slayer mark curse might work the same way and be lifted. Yeah, it's not the exact same thing, since those who awaken the mark already pushed their body hard by using the power-up. Arguably, they have already burned away through some of their lifespan. But as mentioned, it didn't stop Yoriichi from reaching 80, so hey, anything is possible, and if you want to believe it, I'm not one to stop you. But either way, let me know what you think in the comments. Is our protagonist destined to die before 25 because of the well-documented effects of the Demon Slayer mark curse and leave his unmarked wife and friends behind, or do you believe that in one way or another he will overcome the curse and live well into old age with them? I guess it's nice in a way that the mangaka did not give us a definitive answer, so that as readers, we could sort of choose the ending that makes the most sense to us, given the evidence laid out in the story and highlighted in this video. I'll be the first to admit that it's not written in stone, and arguments, as you saw, can definitely be made for both alternatives. Now, if you did enjoy this video about the fate of Tanjiro, then you won't want to miss my video about all the secret romances in Demon Slayer Explained, where I go over the fate of every romantic relationship in the series, some of which will shock you. Like and subscribe for more Demon Slayer, and I'll see you in the next one.